Hi Sham, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jamie. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be on this show.
Welcome to 2025, the year when Donald Trump takes over. Again. So what does that mean for the battery and clean technology market in the United States? Well, today I'm joined by Sham Ramnarain, who is the founder and CEO of BlackTeal Energy. They're a business that have moved very quickly in recent months. They've taken the administration change into consideration. They're about to close their seed round, and they've recently established a new facility in Holland, Michigan. So hear from Sham as he shares his story, strategy, and his outlook for the industry under the new Trump administration. We hope you enjoy.
Likewise, thank you for coming on. Well, let's start with you first of all. Talk us through your story, and then why and how you established BlackTeal Energy.
Yeah, absolutely. So BlackTeal Energy it's founded on different issues that we saw in the market, right? So I'll go back into a little bit into the past. So I've been in the energy business since 2008, built many energy power plants with different companies around the world. And every time I work for a company, I will always build something for them that makes them billions of dollars or hundreds of millions of dollars, either one, right? So any case is that I built so many different plants around the world, especially on the solar side. And then back in 2020, I saw that the battery was taking off. The battery space was taking off. I got established with another company at that time, saw all the issues in early market stage that was happening, right, as these batteries are being installed. And I saw it and I said to myself, should I go and give these ideas to all these other companies, or should I just go and build my own? So I decided at that time, back in 2021, to go and establish BlackTeal Energy. At the same time, too, I had a big workload for this other company I was working with. And unfortunately, I couldn't, even though the company was established in 2021, I was still pushing the other company to make sure that I'm delivering whatever I say I will do, I will actually do it for that company. So I made sure I deliver on my words for them. And ever since then, I said to myself, okay, I need to make time. So make time, start establishing all the foundation for BlackTeal Energy, which we did. So we came up to say, okay, based on what we were seeing in the field, we established BlackTeal Energy as a next generation OEM aftermarket. And what does that mean, right? So what does that mean? It means any project that was done in the past, so let's say in the past 7 years, and projects is going to be done in the future, BlackTeal Energy is developing technologies to make sure that those projects in the past is always being serviced and taken care of so we could keep them going for the future, right? And then also making sure the technology could be used currently and in the future as well. So everything that we're doing is backward compatible and forward thinking, right? And establishing that with all different sensors and making sure those sensors could be used into our next series of movement in the company, which is going to be on an AI level, right? So at the same time, too, as we establish the company and its foundation deeper and deeper with battery manufacturers, OEM itself, and also different entity out there that actually hold battery assets, we want to be able to go out there and say BlackTeal Energy could service you as a one-stop shop as well, too.
Before we started filming, you were talking me through your beautiful home office, which you're in today. For those watching this on YouTube as opposed to listening on Spotify or whatever else, you can see the nice office here. But talk us through that and kind of the early humble beginnings of BlackTeal.
Yeah. So as you can see in the background here, right, none of these sofa was actually here before. But when we started BlackTeal Energy, I have a 3-level home. So thank goodness for my wife to let me use the first level. And this whole entire office, including the living space here and the other side of this wall, all got plastic desks and chairs with computers everywhere on it. Was all 6 of us working here at a time, right? Just going away at it. Then we had to establish this office behind me that you're seeing. So this way we could have room to just talk and explain business more in details. But it was a really great adventure. For 4 to 5 months, we actually all worked out of this office. It was a beautiful thing in making. Now everybody's around the world and globally as well, too. So yeah, very thankful to have this space. And this is going to be, I don't ever think I could ever sell this house because of this space and this what we started here. So thank you for asking that.
How did the negotiations go with your wife? I think everyone's interested to hear about that.
You know, that's an interesting story. So it's actually, thank you for asking that question. So two things were happening at the same time. We were trying to have a baby at the same time. We're older parents, so we were trying to have a baby at the same time. And in April of 2022, I didn't know we were pregnant, and I brought my wife down to this office. I was like, "Hey, I'm going to quit my job and do this full time. Right? Are you okay with that?" Fast forward a little bit before. I mean, fast forward backwards a little bit, or go backwards a little bit there. She told me the announcement that we were pregnant, but I also wanted to start the startup, and I told her when quitting. Without her support, we would be here where we are today, because she was pregnant, just like pregnant, and we started this company. So with her supporting me through this whole thing, and including the pregnancy, and we're going through it. So this, the way how I look at this company, as old as my child is today, which is 20 months old, this company, from my part of quitting my job, is 20 months old as well, even though it goes beyond that. So for her, I forever have to be thankful that she actually gave me this opportunity while we were actually having a baby as well.
Wow. Congratulations, first and foremost. That's an amazing story. And good to hear that you have a 20-month-old now, a boy or girl?
A girl.
Nice.
Her name is Sufiana, so she's a girl, and very handful every single day.
Hopefully, you can get her on that first floor office as soon as possible and get her to work in the startup. That's the dream, I guess.
Oh yeah, 100%. She's already moving little toys in already.
Very good. Just to switch the topic onto the election, so it's obviously very recent, and the reason I ask this is because your recent business activities or announcements, you saw opportunity here post-election, and as an observer here in Europe, it's always a big deal. But I guess it's for kind of you when you're watching the Brexit vote. It's fascinating. It certainly was fascinating for us. And with every change in administration, there's always opportunity, right? There's always going to be changes, but and there was talk. No one would give me a straight answer, but there was talk before the announcement that some people thought it was going to be positive or negative, whichever way it went. But I understand the result has played a big part in your approach for next year. So talk us through how you planned pre-result and then post-result, and kind of what your actions have been since. And what were the biggest opportunities that you identified during that process?
So I would like to take a step back a little too as well on that, right? So the reason I do this, I'll get to your full answer here in a second. So under the first time Trump was in power, right, I was working for a company called Huawei at that time, right? I was helping Huawei build out their whole entire solar business at that time. And unfortunately, he actually had Huawei leave this country back in 2019. So from that point on, I learned about the way of Trump as me, how he works, right? And what we need to gear up for. And this administration. So it's a good thing he's here, but I don't think, as you can know, the energy sector in itself, it still runs, right? Even when he was in power during that time in his first term, he tried to promote coal and everything to push it. The utility company itself have the time make their own decision to what energy they need to put into the market, right? So he became a supporter of it. Back in COVID as well too, you could look at that trend as well. The whole entire market of the battery side went up because of the supplies as well too. So I saw a big growth in there. So as now he's getting reelected, yes, we have, Elon Musk is backing him and supporting him. Elon is a big supporter for renewable energy as well. But with him, he wants to make it a level field, right? There's no incentives or anything that will be in play. He just wants to make everybody play at the same exact level field. I think that is a good opportunity, because now how can you compete very fairly? If you could take out all of the incentives from oil, coal, every area, and then put every energy sector to start working on par, I think it's a fair opportunity, because now you're going to spur the competition. What can we do in all of these different energy sector, right? As more and more EVs coming on the road every single day, more and more energy storage is coming on the door. Where do you get that power? You need multiple resources to get that power from, right? So if you put everybody to play together, I think it's a good opportunity for almost every single energy sector to actually work with, right? And this is how we're setting up BTE as well. So BTE, the way how we're setting it up is to be able to support everyone, right, on a control side. So our first focus to become the next generation is to be able to focus what is the need, right? And the need is, okay, right at this current moment as we're speaking, is the control system for batteries, right? There's if you look at from the auto industry all the way down to the battery industry, everything is coming from China, right? So how do we bring back those opportunity into the US and still be on par with Chinese pricing? The biggest thing right now that I'm seeing here as well is that we need to be able to compete with China in the US, right? That's one of my specialty. How do we use the supply chain to actually gain that opportunity? And every single day, my team and I are working away to be able to bring those same exact controlling almost at the same price as China. So this way, no one needs to go back to China. We could also bring all of those opportunities and have it leave here in the US and continue to grow with it, right? To answer your question, what do I see post-Trump? I see post-Trump that he is going to be a big promoter for U.S. manufacturing, which he did the first time around with the tariffs that in place. At the same time, too, I see him also causing a bottleneck because there's a lot of projects that needs to get going. We are a big country that needs a lot of energy. We consume a lot of energy. And by being that bottleneck at the beginning, it actually might cause a slowdown in the industry, right? Everybody's shipping everything currently and then install it. So you'll see on the construction side, a big ramp up that's going to happen for current projects that need to be installed. But also as the tariff is being worked out, is how do we get that supply? If we can't ramp up the US manufacturing really fast, I think the pricing for energy might also have to escalate because we have to pay for that tariff as well, right? The way how we're setting ourselves up for that is to be able to put the manufacturing in place for these control systems, right? How can we use our US manufacturing to start bringing those controls here, and then eventually, as we become successful from one, we will keep expanding our business to be able to meet the supply requirements.
And I guess that moves us on quite nicely to BlackTeal Electronics, which is, I guess, where you saw the opportunity and then you actioned into this. At the time we're recording pre-Christmas. This will be released in January. So there was a big announcement this week. Obviously, congratulations on the announcement. But then by the time it's released in January, it will be established. BlackTeal Electronics will be established. So, kind of share what that means for your operations. And I understand they're going to be in Holland, Michigan. So, yeah, what does that mean for you as a business, and also why Holland, Michigan as a location?
So let me answer that first question, right? Why Holland, Michigan? So Holland, Michigan is actually a nice little town. I call it a little sleepy town, but at the same time too, it's very beautiful. There's a lot of great people there. The work ability is out of this world. There's a lot of Dutch humbling beginnings there as well, so which is kind of cool. It also takes me back to a little my culture as well too. Even though my country was under at one time as British Guyana, but before British Guyana, it was actually a Dutch Guyana, right? So some sort of root in my blood connects back into Holland, Michigan. But beside that, what draws me there is with our partners. Our partners that will run our operations there is actually all employee-owned business, right? Anytime there's an employee-owned business, they always look out for that business. So that was my biggest driver for Holland. Then also, if you look at all of the development that's happening, Detroit is not too far. You have the car industry next door a bit, right? Eventually, our next phase is making the control systems for the EV market, as we're currently developing the energy storage market. And hopefully everything works out really well at that plant in Michigan. So this way we could keep expanding it for other business venture there as well, right? Including in the future in Denver, maybe even enclosures. So in Holland, Michigan, right? So refer back to your first question, why BlackTeal Energy Electronics or BlackTeal Electronics, right? So BlackTeal Energy is actually the parent company, and then we form another company called BlackTeal Electronics. That will do every single thing electronically that we need to get from anything from PCB fab. So next week I will be going out to Chicago to negotiate the PCB fab machines that we're going to install. So that machine will make your PCB boards. And then from there, we already have the PCB assembly, right? So all of the components being assembled. What we're trying to do is to build a full circle, a full life cycle at that plant for when it comes into electronics. So this way, as we're making it, whoever becomes our customer, they just come to one-stop shop, get the best price. So this way we could compete with China. We don't have to go back out of this country to just go make our PCB. Everything is being made right there in Michigan. The fabrication, the PCB fabrication, including the assembly as well. So that's our future expansion is the PCB fabrication. Currently, PCB assembly is already happening there. Our capacity output is going to grow as well. Currently, we could do about 5 to 10,000 boards, depending on the complexity of that board, right? We could do between 5 to 10,000. Eventually, we're going to be growing that close to 100,000 boards per month, right? So it's a huge operation as we see the opportunity with all of the battery manufacturer here in the US, and then also expanding beyond our borders. Let's us become the exporter as well.
We have a few clients in Michigan as well, some more on the OEM side and some on the actual cell and pack side. So as you say, kind of Motor City, really good place to establish. And those business I mentioned, manufacturing organizations, manufacturing readiness is a huge topic, especially right now in the States, as you mentioned, post-Trump, and especially when it comes to batteries as well, manufacturing readiness. So what does that term mean for you personally, and also for your business?
Yeah, for me is always being ready, right? So there's a good thing that's happening. Everybody gets into business these days and start designing things and putting products on the market, but how do you manufacture it? How do you manufacture it to make it cost effective, right? To make it usable, right? So if you look at some of the competition, yeah, we make this, we make X, we make Z, right? But at the same time too, you're not the manufacturer, right? You just design and you put the product out there. On my side, and my humble background that I have is that I've been with manufacturing and the product side, right? So, and I don't know if I could call the name out, but when I was at First Solar, even though as an engineer, but at the same time too, we were actually developing solar panels. I was part of that whole entire development, so I understand the process. Been to the manufacturing several times. I saw the whole process, and then also from there, as an engineer, growing up and learning that how the product is being installed and doing all the design, doing all the calculation, making sure it's being installed correctly, making sure the construction is being done. I feel in my background that I have the full evolution from conceive all the way to output, right? To make it into production. So I take that and I put it forward to what we are doing is to make sure if you're going to go get your clients is that you could actually produce the product to the best reliability and the best standard out there, right? So that's what I learned and how I grew up with it. So I just want to make sure I take that experience and bring it to my team and to the company.
You touched upon it a little bit before around BMS and AI in terms of how it fits into your solution. So where does that for you fit into the value chain, and why do you feel it's game changing?
Yeah. So right now, as you can see, any Chinese manufacturer, and this is something I also want to bring back to the Trump topic as well too, right? Is that the reason why Huawei got kicked out of the US is because they were putting Chinese products into the telecom industry. So what you saw the last couple of weeks, AT&T, T-Mobile, Verizon, all of them got hacked because of equipment. They was there right during the election time. They all got hacked. The same thing is, I wouldn't say the same thing is going to happen, but we have a lot of batteries coming from China that has a lot of Chinese component in there, right? How do we secure our grid? The telecom company, thank goodness they still have power, right? That's power for them to go and fix their problems, right? But now you're dealing with a utility company and you're dealing with power that if you shut the light off, and it's a night that you have an accident, right? You're not seeing or getting your system up and running until the next day, right? So how do we safeguard that, right? So everything we're trying to do on our side is to be able to put the factory up to make sure that whatever we're building in the US and that we could actually build a cyber security BMS that's hack proof. We will try our best, right? Because that's something as even the Tesla cars get hacked, right? So we'll try our best to make sure that we could be as much as possible. We could help on the cybersecurity and also making it here in the US, knowing every single component that we're using, wherever market is coming from, that is actually meeting the cybersecurity standards, right? So that's one of the things that I wanted to say on that. And the relationship to the AI is that since we are developing all of these PCB boards, right, and we're collecting that data set, we want to be embedded with the data set, right? Currently, with all the Chinese manufacturing batteries out there, all the data belongs to them. They might give you an API that you could go plug in and you an EMS to see what you're doing, but at the end of the day, you don't own that data. So what we want to do is to make sure, however, I don't want to give away everything now, but when we put our AI, it could be able to self-heal, give you better efficiency, collect that data. You could predict when maintenance that needs to get done, right? And then also on top of that, based on the data we're collecting, we could relate it back to the manufacturer. Hey, your slurry mix needs some improvement based on what we're seeing from the data, right? So we want to be able to make it shareable, but use the AI to be able to tell us that information in real time as well too.
Great.
That development is already in process. So we're hoping by RE Plus that we can make a huge announcement for that. That's going to be in September of 2025. So we can make a huge opening door at RE Plus. So RE Plus of 2025. If you're there, please come and visit our booth, because at that time we will make the announcement on the AI itself as we're developing it.
I'm not sure if I'll be there. I'll be at the battery show for sure in Detroit, but I will check my calendar as well and see if I can make it there as well. Cause
hopefully they don't overlap it this year.
yeah, exactly. Cool, very good. This wasn't a question actually prepped, but you touched on a few things there. The battery value chain is fascinating in different parts of the world. In the US now, post-Trump, which parts of the value chain do you think will really win? And which parts of the value chain do you think are most at risk post-Trump coming in?
I think there's a couple of people will be a winner here, right? So we're in 2025. You could start seeing the recycling. I for sure will start happening a lot more, because we need that value to stay here, that battery itself. Then also on top of that is the lithium, right? The lithium mines, the iron mines, all the raw material, I think will become more and more. Under Trump, he's in for be able to open up our own resources to be able to start using them, which is already happening. But right now, there's a lot of permitting issues and so forth and hurdles. So hopefully with Elon Musk and Trump, they could actually clean up the EPA and start fast tracking to be able to collect these resources so we could put it in the market. One of the reasons why our manufacturer is not actually manufacturing today is because, yeah, we have gigawatts and gigawatts manufacturing ready to go, right? But unfortunately, where does the resource come from, right? It still comes from overseas currently. So as we could start becoming self-sustaining and less hurdles on the EPA side, so these guys at the resource mining could start pushing that to the factory, we could start seeing more US batteries. That's where I think the focal point should be for 2025. Even Elon Musk needed, with all his batteries producing, use it in the US, right? Build out our mining industry, so this way we could get the resources we need. We have tons of it, right? Instead of bringing it from overseas currently, I think the next value chain of that is going to be the steel industry, because all of these things need steels, right? How are we going to use it, right? How are we going to make containers, and how are we going to be able to put that battery into operation, right? So we definitely need the steel as well too. Then after that is the electronics. Currently, there's a lot of exception for electronics, but hopefully TSMC and LG and Samsung and Intel could get their act together and move forward really fast to get their plant up and running, so we could start using homegrown chips here in the US. So hopefully those markets could, rapidly expand under Trump.
Thank you for giving a straight answer as well, because I've asked that question to many CEOs across the battery value chain, and there's a lot of people on the fence. So let's see. But yeah,
You'll know that about me. I'm a very straightforward. I get to the point.
nice. Well, just as we're talking about BlackTeal, I believe you're very close to closing the seed round for the business. So talk us through that and what will that mean for the business?
I give my team a challenge, right? I said, come up with an idea. You're not allowed to go ask any family members, right? Go ask a bunch of strangers with your idea that you have, right? And tell them to give you $100 for your ideas. You need to sell them. I said, this idea is going to make you X, right? And if you can achieve that, I will give you $1,000, right? But you can't be any person you're related to, anybody, right? That's how I feel when I have to go and do the seed round, right? Is the feeling is like I became a person that have to sell this idea and encourage people and tell them why. At the same time, too, when we were going through this, SBP happened, right? So a lot of the financial institute were sitting on money, but was not giving it out, right? They were just looking at the market. And thank goodness I have some resources in my own family that we could be able to push what we have. So a lot of the investments that you're seeing in BTE is from my side of the family that we pushed into the company to make it what it is to produce products. So from my side, I feel like we're self-grown, right? We're self-funded. And also on top of that, we create our service arm, which is Sun-Made Power, right? Our Sun, that which is in operation right now. So that's actually doing a lot of service to bring in cash flow to push some of the technology. All of 2022 and 2025 was done by Sun-Made Power. We took a little bit of cash, right? Put it in the company, grow Sun-Made Power to make it what it is, could generate revenue to what it is. So this way we could keep innovating on the technology. That being said, recently we raised about $3 million. We already closed the $3 million out. We are about to close out another $1 million. We have $1 million more to go. So it's be a $5 million seed. Hopefully we could close it out before the end of the year, if not in January. And we would definitely close out seed. And then from there, a month after, we're going to probably go and start soliciting for Series A for manufacturer expansion. During that seed too, what we're doing is, as you can see, BlackTeal Electronics is already in play. So this way we can start getting those POs and start getting more POs in to fulfill the obligations, right? So we were trying to grow the company in a way that take all the investment dollars we get in, truly invest in the company, grow the team that you need, and start producing products so we could be cash flow, right? We did that. We became cash flow a couple months after from the service, and we want now the product side to start producing cash flow, right? So the seed and these fundraiser, we want to put that in place for our evaluation and growth and expansion.
Well, good luck with the final stages. And it kind of brings me on to my next question. Quite nice. I've got 2 more questions for you, and then I have 1 question from a former guest. You don't know who that person is. So my next question, based on that, obviously kind of closing out the seed round now. If you're to paint a perfect picture of how BlackTeal Energy will look in 5 years' time, talk us through it.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things so when we first started, we went around the circle based on ideas, right? So we were trying to do a closed loop system, right? But then we had to focus, right? What can we do now to get into the market? And what I learned from that is to have the team focus, right? Build the foundation to grow this company at a rapid pace, right? So how do you do that? You look around you on a battery industry and see what is the need, what is the controller, how can you grow a company? You can't just start from software. You can't start from cells itself. So what we did, we ran straight into the controlling systems, right? So we built that out. The next stage of it, start evaluating with your partners. As you're growing, you're becoming the OEM supplier, right? How can you work with your OEM partners now to fulfill their obligations, right? To help them fulfill some of their obligation on the warranty side, and also maintaining their long-term service agreements that they have as well, right? So become their embedded partners, right? So that's where we look at it. So eventually we will start making our own brand new replacement battery packs, right? And then also on the commercial side, we will also do containers for our partners as well too, right? So we're designing the containers currently. We're almost done with it. It's going to go through all this testing, but again, our whole thing is to grow this U.S. economy, especially the battery economy, as much as possible with U.S. products. So we're building all the designs. We're doing 100% in-house, then work with a lot of JV partners to be able to control the manufacturing process. So this way we could get a competitive product into the market, right? So as we do this venture, we will do this venture from the foundation, but with a rapid expansion. So as we get our product name into the market, build the need, and then rapidly grow it, right? And that's how we will stay relevant on the newest technology that's coming in into the market.
Well, good luck on that journey. I love just how entrepreneurial the industry is, and then also the US in general, right? I mean, just learning about your story and it being self-funded and then now going for seed round. I've spoken to so many people who have set up businesses and funded it and grown it in unconventional ways. And it's fascinating to know that our ecosystem, battery ecosystem, is built up with these incredible stories. So yeah, I'm hoping that in the US.
Correct. And one of the things is like we even though we applied for some of the grants, it was taking too long, right? So we were not going to be a company that we're going to be self-reliant on the government grant. If the grant comes in, it comes in. But if you want to grow a competitive company, you can't miss the opportunity. So try to get the funding to grow it as much as possible. So that's where we had to do things in place. We had to put our own mechanism in place to be able to grow itself and generating revenue, and then also with the seed as well too.
A question for you, Sham. What's the best piece of advice that you've received in your career?
I took the same advice and I used it on a new employee. He's on board now. So the first question that came to me, what do you see yourself in 2 years, right? And when he answered that, he's like, oh, I want to lead a team and manage it, right? I was like, no, you won't be able to do that. If you want to come to this company and expect to do that in 2 years, you're not going to have that, right? One of the things, if we as a company going to invest in you and our future employee, we want to make sure we give you all the tools as possible to grow your career, what you really want to do in life, right? And be happy in doing it, right? So that advice was given to me, and as a young engineer, right, I was graduating college, and the inventor of the CD was doing the commencement speech for the engineering department, and he said to him, it was only like 6 people from the engineering department at that time, right? So we was very intimate at that time when he was doing it to giving us this commencement. He said, if you really want to make a change, right, in this industry, you have to do the changes. You have to make the change as that person to make it happen, right? So what I want to do for every single one of my employees and future partners is to be able to help them change on what they want to do. And I want to coach them on that, right? So based on that advice alone that I had, I took my career and I rapidly grow it to get to where I am today. So I want to be able to help other people do the same thing.
Well, that brings us quite nicely onto the next question, which is from a former guest. So that's quite coincidental the way in which you answered that question. And this former guest isn't the most recent episode, so you can't just guess who the person is. It's from the last 10. There's a clue. But they have asked, and they don't know this question has been asked to you either. They have asked, in your opinion, what's the most important characteristic to possess to be a successful CEO?
Listen. I think listening is a big one, right? The second one is ego, right? I could give you a story on that if you have a little bit of time. When I first started, right, and I have a military background, right, and getting out of the military as a young person, on my first marriage, my father-in-law at that time, my ex-father-in-law at that time, gave me his company, his construction company, right? And I took that, and based on coming out of the military, I think I know everything. Like, you think you know everything. And I had a lot of ego at that time. And that actually had me lost a lot more employees, right? Because of that ego. So if you could actually let that ego go and listen to your employees, is actually a true characteristic. If you can listen to the ideas from them as well, and how do you incorporate that into your vision as well, it will actually blossom your company a lot faster. So from a characteristic standpoint, I see listening. My wife will love to, if she wasn't here, she's like, oh yeah, you think I should be listening to her more about what, that's a different, that's a different joke. But at the same time too, I will say that listening to your employees, let go of ego, because ego will get in your way, because there's a lot, you're not the smartest person in the room. If you think you're the smartest person in the room, you're going to fail, right? There's a lot other people just like you in here, and there's a lot of other people that actually have more experience than you. And if you could actually listen to them and their advice, you could actually grow a lot faster. It took me a while to get there, but that's what I had to do to get where I am today. And I'm still listening to today.
What a beautiful way to finish. And yeah, I totally agree with you as well. You know, it's about empowering the people around you, and as you say, kind of bringing the best people on board and allowing them to do the best work. As you said before, to that person, that advice that you received, they don't want to manage a team in 2 years and grow that team. It's how can they make a difference? How can they do their best work in their career and, you know, be truly fulfilled? So Sham, I've really enjoyed this, and yeah, I'm excited to see what happens with BlackTeal Energy and BlackTeal Electronics. Hopefully I can make it over in September next year.
Absolutely. If not, I will try to see you at the battery show as well.
For sure. And good luck with everything until then, and you know, hopefully there's a part 2 in the future where we can reflect on how everything's gone.
Oh, that would be great. Let's aim for that. But thank you for hosting me, and thank you for this opportunity as well too. So thank you.
Our pleasure, and good luck. Thank you again.
Have a good night. Bye.